Hey there YouTube, Doc's Motorcycle Service. Rawr, 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 rawr. Welcome back to the garage. If you're following along, you know that we're getting pretty close to getting this bike wrapped up. Service manual, I'm gonna say it again, service manual, service manual, service manual. If you don't have one of these while you're doing this, you're foolish. Today, we're going to work on the front end of the bike. As I outlined in the previous video, we got the front end, we got the rear end, and we got the middle. Middle we're going to be calling the drivetrain. Rear end, creatively enough, we're going to call the rear end. And the front of the motorcycle, guess what we're going to call that? The front end. Pretty smart, wouldn't you think? But anyway, so we're meddling in all three of these areas, okay? And what we're going to do today is work on the front end of the motorcycle. I'm going to show you how to replace the caliper. While doing that, we're also going to be shooting footage for how to replace a brake rotor. Come along with us as we delve into this thing, and I'll show you some tips and tricks that might help you a little bit better. Right quick, check out the Facebook page. That's all I got to say about that. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at the caliper that we're going to put on Hot Donna. We're going to replace it with a Chrome Drag Specialties single piston caliper. So this is our caliper. Comes pretty well packaged. I mean, it ought to for the amount of money that you spend on it. It also comes with new chrome mounting hardware for it, which is nice that they included that. So we got this thing out. It looks good. It's going to mount on the bike like so, but here's a tech tip. Always match it up with the old one that come off the bike before you try to install it. That way, if it's not right, you can return it. Okay, so before we get started with either if your bike is on the ground or it's up on a lift, make sure it's stable. Make sure that you're using some safety straps. We got a safety strap back here on the back. We got it up on 4x4s, and we got our John Jack in place. Don't be an idiot, okay? Whether it's on the ground or on the lift, don't get in a hurry and make sure that this bike is stable. If you are using one of the lifts that goes under the motor, kind of sort of like a transmission jack or a motorcycle lift jack, I would encourage you before you put that thing on the jack and jack it up in the air to loosen everything that you're going to need to have loosened before you get it up in the air and start yanking on it trying to get stuff loose. You have a brake line coming off of this going up to your hand controller. If you're following along with the series, you'll notice that Donna's being put back together. We don't have that. If yours does, just find the appropriate socket or the appropriate wrench for this banjo bolt. Take it all the way out. And once you do, your bolt will come off along with your cable. They call it a banjo bolt because it has a hole right here that comes out down here on the bottom. Your brake line attaches around it like this. The fluid comes through the line, passes through the hole up here, comes out the bolt down here, and then goes into the body of the caliper to make it move in and out. So just lay that aside, and here's a tech tip. Keep this clean. Now another little tech tip I like, matter of fact, what you can do if you want to when you're done with this, it's not going to help a whole lot because it's got a hole in it, but you can actually screw that back in to keep up with it. As long as you keep this thing up in the air, screwing it back in nice and snug, and then put your finger over this hole, once you let it down, the fluid's not going to come out of it. But here's a tech tip. These are called vacuum caps. They're designed to go on the end of a vacuum hose and close it off. Have you some around? I'll tell you why. This is not the right size, but if you have one available, the moment you pull that brake line off, you can put this over the end of it, stick it up into it to stop it up and prevent it from bleeding out. Brake fluid is corrosive to paint. Don't let it get on your paint. So now, all we have to do is remove these two bolts and jiggle this thing off of the rotor. I took the liberty of loosening them already. So now it's just a matter of time of getting them out. Now another little tech tip, to take pictures through here of any spacers and then watch for them to fall. So once you get this out, put your finger over that banjo bolt hole and just start to wiggle it. Well, it helps take the bolt all the way out. Bring it down, keeping that bolt up. Come out of there. Then you bring her out, and there she is. Lay her up, sitting up, and you won't lose none of that fluid. All right, YouTube, looking down at these guys, they're looking like they're going to match up good. They look pretty much the same. They are pretty much the same in the way they operate. Our bleeder valve is here and there, and our banjo bolt goes in there and goes in there. So we're going to get the camera on the tripod and we're going to do a test fit. And if the test fit works, we're going to put some bolts in it and we're going to call this a wrap. Okay, as you can see, we got the new rotor on. We did this at the same time, so there should be a little link popping up here, how to put a new rotor on your wheel. Check that out. This is going to be a nice little tandem set of sidebar videos here. All right, YouTube, these things almost always come out easier than they go in. But we're going to give it a try here and see what happens. Like I said, YouTube, sometimes you just got to finagle it a little bit. So we're going to bring this one up here and we're going to put our bottom bolt in first. All right, we got that one started. Now we're going to line up our top piece here. Slide it up. Line it up. Ta-da. Well, there you go. I mean, all we got to do now is torque these two down. And I will probably go in there and put a drop of some blue Loctite on them. Get them tightened up. Service manual. Service manual. Got to have a service manual. Always got to have a service manual. And here's why. Right here, it will tell you everything you need to know about torquing this thing up. For example, this says front wheel tightening torque non-springer, which is what we have. Front brake caliper, 85 on, 25 to 30 pounds. Just gotta have a service manual. So she's looking great. The only thing that we have to do is to tie in the front brake line, which we're going to do in an upcoming video. And then we're going to have to bleed it. And there should be a little link popping up right here. They'll show you how to bleed one. Well, there you go. It's just that simple. I'm telling you, man, don't let people steal your money. Don't give your money away for free, okay? If you have the ability to take a nut off a bolt, you have the ability to put a nut back on the bolt. It's just that simple. This thing right here, to the owner of a motorcycle, to the owner of a car, to the owner of a truck, to the owner of anything, you gotta have one of these. I've been preaching this for so long. Right quick, check out the Facebook page. That's all I got to say about that. I've been preaching about a service manual through this entire project. If this is the first video that you have seen of mine, there's a whole series of videos on Hot Donna. Hot Donna is this 1986 Heritage Softail over here that earlier in this year, around February 2020, had an electrical issue. A guy brought it to me and said, I need this fixed, I don't know what it is. We dug into it, come to find out it was a stator. The stator on a motorcycle is like the alternator on a car. It replenishes the charge in a battery and it runs the electrical system while the vehicle is running. While we had it torn down for that, the executive decision was made to go ahead and do a restore on it. And we stripped it down to the frame and we've been putting it back together. And we're getting real close now. So we've been doing little sidebar videos that don't necessarily pertain to just hot dyno. This rotor or this caliper replacement, that's on any motorcycle. Might be one more bolt, might be one more piston, but it's pretty much the same. Challenge yourself, save some money. Guess what? If you mess up, you can always put it on a trailer and take it to somebody and have them fix it, but at least you tried. Hello? So anyway, we're going to wrap this up. Like I said, watch for the links. We did the rotor and the caliper in a tandem set of sidebar videos. So if you haven't already seen a link to that video, or if I haven't already talked about it, it'll be popping up right here. Check it out, because they sort of go together, because you got to know how to take the caliper off in order to get to the rotor. And there should have been a link there on how to take the wheel off. YouTube, I appreciate you coming by the garage. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a like, click in the bottom. Ask some questions, answer some questions. Watch a little sponsor every now and again. I don't make a whole lot of money off these. I'm not trying to make a whole lot of money off these, but like I've always said, a little bit of money I get from YouTube, it pays for another piece of chrome that I show you how to put on, or it puts another tool in the garage, which I show you how to use. So, as always, ride safe, handle your business, save some money, and